After my ultrasound, I talked to my doctor and he's like, this is a circumvallate placenta, but it's like a twingy zap in my stomach. I like love sugar. And so weird, but that's how it is. But then there's other times when you're not expecting it and you start walking and it's just like, oh, and you feel like you're like crippled. There's also extra fluid in the amniotic sac. Intense, it gets intense. Anxiety does for me during pregnancy. What does this say? How do you say that? I don't know. I feel like I've cried almost every day the past week. I have craved the feeling of my toothbrush on my teeth. The baby's heart rate needs to go 15 beats above their average heart rate for 15 seconds, 2 times within 20 to 40 minutes. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today, I'm actually up in our room. You can see up here, we still have a stripe of yellow. If you've been watching us for a long time, then you've seen when we moved into this house, almost the whole thing was yellow. And so we've slowly been getting, Brett's been painting. Actually, we did a ton when we first moved here. And I got like so over the painting and everything. So, and now that I've been pregnant, I haven't been doing the painting and Brett has been. And so he's been getting a lot done. But we have that stripe up there that we need to finish. I have, my littlest, Lottie, is taking a nap right now. I have a non-stress test in about an hour and a half, and my 3 other girls are resting. Let me go tell them to rest. Okay, so today I am going to be getting ready as it's kind of propped down a little. Let's see if I can get this up a little bit higher. Right there is better. There we go. Right, I'm gonna get ready during this video as I talk about my weeks 31 through, I think I'm gonna do 33. I might do 31 and 32 right now, I'm not sure. So you'll see in the title if I end up doing 31 and 32 or 31 through 33. Thank you again for coming to watch this video. If you're new here, I have 4 girls. We're pregnant with a boy and we're really excited. I'm already 34 weeks. And yeah, there's a lot of new things with this pregnancy that have been different than last time. So that I haven't been able to talk about on YouTube. And so quite yet, I mean, I could have, but I wasn't all the way up to these updates or like ready to update. So let's just get started. Please subscribe if you haven't already and like this video. Let me know down below if you are around the same weeks pregnant now and how you are feeling, or if you've had any of these same symptoms. So let's see, I'm gonna look at my notes. So let's start with week 31. That was a few weeks ago. I wrote that I was waking up with acid reflux. Acid reflux has been an issue for me this pregnancy, mostly towards like the end of this pregnancy. With not the end of this pregnancy, but this like 3rd trimester, I've been going to sleep with it. Like if I take my medicine at night that I typically take, if I take it at night and lay down, I get terrible, less heartburn, more like actual acid reflux. And I have like woken up during the night with it, even if I don't fall asleep with it. It's on me, something on me. Even if I don't fall asleep with acid reflux, I've been waking up during the night sometimes with it, which is just awful. You know how bad acid reflux is. Heartburn is, for me, heartburn is not fun either. Like it really feels like you have like burning in your heart. Acid reflux is worse for me though, because it like goes up into like your throat. So that has not been fun. I've also been feeling it. In week 31, I was feeling him at night a ton, which is so fun because it's less of like little taps or like flutters, and it's more movements like rolls and kicks and things like that. So that's fun. I also have been peeing a ton at night. Oh gosh, I haven't had it this bad in pregnancy where I have like needed to pee so much. This is my first pregnancy where where I've gotten a bladder infection. Well, my first time in my life was this pregnancy. And also, he's just like either sitting really low in my bladder or something's different, because I have had to pee so bad this pregnancy, and especially at night. Like, I've been getting up at night to pee, and I know that's really normal for most pregnant women, but this is my 5th pregnancy, 6th pregnancy, 5th this far, and I haven't had that bad of an issue with my bladder. So that's kind of a bummer. I've been feeling like his bum has been up high. This week and since then too, I've been like, okay, yeah, his head is definitely down. And I knew that from the doctor as well. But yeah, so I can like feel his bum. I'm always like, girls, come feel his bum. It's really cute. And then also I had talked a little bit about my last update about going to the chiropractor. My sciatica and my neck pain came back again this week, which was a real bummer. The chiropractor had helped me and stuff, and the chiropractor still will help me. I'm gonna go again next week instead of going. I didn't go yesterday. I didn't feel like going, and so I canceled it. But I'll go again next week, and that'll probably be one of the last times I go this pregnancy, I think. I don't know. It's been helpful, but I don't know if it's something that I want to keep doing right now with all the other appointments that I have. I don't know. I just don't know if it's something that I want to keep going with. I had a cold sore I had talked about in the previous pregnancy. It was still there. Lottie was like, during the night, like she touches my mouth or wherever, or with Brett, whoever she's with, that's like, she loves to put her hands on her mouth. And so she had been messing with it, and then I had been messing with it, and gosh, it was just, it stayed for so long. I also had this weird, like, I've talked about it before, but it's like a twingy zap in my stomach that I haven't heard a lot of pregnant women talk about, but I felt it like every pregnancy. I feel like this randomly, this like kind of like electric, it's not lightning crotch, it's like in my stomach. Like if I turn a weird way, it's like probably just a nerve getting hit or something. But I felt that this week as well. I also felt my first like super, not, I guess intense is not the right word, because intense is like for contractions, but for Braxton Hicks, it was an intense Braxton Hicks contraction that I felt at the top of my belly as well, while holding Ren after she had fallen asleep, while holding Ren. Anyways, and so that was more intense, which is exciting because it means that it's just, they're practice contractions, but they're still like, they're a contraction. So that was, if you've had contractions before, you're like, oh, so uncomfortable, but it's still somewhat thrilling because you know that your body's getting more and more ready for birth. I also felt like the baby, that he was constantly moving at night. It's so fun, even in the middle of the night, feeling him move. And so that was happening this week. And then also I felt like he was squishing my lungs so I couldn't breathe, especially at night when I'd be laying down or getting ready for bed. I thought that, because I've had like shortness of breath with anxiety before, but I think this had more to do with him squishing my lungs than anxiety, which is kind of funny. Shut your door, guys. I also felt like he was kicking my cervix, which is also like just another one of those, like, if you've had multiple kids, I feel like it's like a milestone of like, okay, whoa. Like, we're getting closer. You're obviously big enough to make me feel that inside of me. So that was a fun new addition to week 31. Okay, let's get into week 32. This is where things started to, where I started to learn more about this pregnancy, and that I was more of a high-risk pregnancy than previously. Look how funny my phone isn't focusing on this part of my hair. That's so funny. Okay, so in week 32, I'm using my other camera to, I don't think there's enough space on it to film, but I took a picture of my phone that I'm using to film right now. Anyways, kind of funny. Okay, in week 32, I had an ultrasound. And I thought this ultrasound was because in the previous appointment that I had, my nurse had, I had met with the PA, the physician's assistant or nurse practitioner or something, because my doctor was super busy, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's just, I don't need to see him. It's okay, I can meet with her. And I thought that she had measured, I think that I had said this in my last update, but I was like, I think that she's measuring a little bit wrong. By the way, I don't wear this much makeup every day. I just thought be nice to pamper myself and sit down and do this to feel ready. Anyways, so what was I saying? At my appointment, oh yeah. And so she's like, let's just, she like measured my belly with like the tape measure, and she was like, let's, he looks like he's measuring a little big, let's have an ultrasound. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna complain. I feel like she didn't really measure correctly, and I was like, but I'm not gonna say anything because I love getting ultrasounds, you know? And so I went and had this ultrasound done. She was doing a lot of things that I didn't really know exactly why she was being so thorough, because I had already had my anatomy scan, then I had a follow-up anatomy scan because I hadn't seen a couple of things. But so first thing was she estimated that he was about 4 pounds, 12 ounces, which is super fun, which is just like crazy too, because I mean, that's like, I mean, typically babies aren't born that small, but there's like 5 pound babies, 6 pound babies out there, and that he's already almost 5 pounds. Is really crazy, you know? So I asked her, because if you've seen my previous updates, you've seen that I've talked about how I thought that my doctor had said something about there being a flap in the baby's heart. He's like, it's not a big deal, but we'll just keep an eye on it and stuff, baby's non-stress tests. So I was like, hey, can you check on this? Because my doctor said something about this. And she was like, and she looked in the notes and she's like, there's nothing about that on here. So I was like, okay, maybe I like misheard him or something. I don't know. And she was like, the only thing on here is about a circumvallate placenta, and extra fluid or something. I don't know if she said both of those things, but I was like, okay, so great. There's nothing wrong with his heart. So I think that she did a BPP, a biophysical something, I don't remember, but because I think that's what she was doing that time, because it was like she was like stuck on one part, like on his like, it looked like it was his head or his belly or something. I don't know exactly, but she was, it took a little bit of like, it wasn't just like she was measuring how big he was. But she also did a 3D ultrasound, my very first one. I haven't had him for any of the girls. I'll put a picture right here of how cute he is. He looks so much like when I was looking at it and seeing him, and then talking about it after, I'm like, he totally looks like May. I think he looks like May, and then also, because Greta's got her own look to her, but then again, her and Ren look like twins half the time. And so I think that he kind of looks like Lottie and May. We'll see when he's born, but he's so precious. Like, is there anything cuter than that? Gosh, so cute and so sweet. So that was really fun. She's like, let's just do this and have some fun while we're waiting for him to get in the right position. And I was like, okay. So I wrote down that my placenta was shaped weird. I was like, shaped placenta? Or the placenta was shaped weird. So I was trying to write. I wrote it kind of weird. And I didn't really know exactly what was going on at that point. So I had gained about 2 or 3 pounds since the other appointment or something. So about 10 total at this point. And I found out that it was called, after my ultrasound, I talked to my doctor and he's like, this is a circumvallate placenta. And really, actually, that's not exactly how it happened, because afterwards I was like, so what is it called? Because I tried to understand. He's like, I thought it was circumvallate placenta, but he kind of talks quietly, my doctor, or kind of mumbles. So anyways, it's called a circumvallate placenta, and what it is that the fetal membranes are kind of wrapped around, so there's a flap. So that's what I realized, okay, he was actually talking about my placenta a couple weeks ago, about there being a flap in my placenta, and I think he was accidentally saying heart the whole time to me. So obviously I was like, finally I was like, okay, I get it. Now I get it. There's also extra fluid in the amniotic sac, which my doctor told me is a sign of, or is like, typically when somebody has gestational diabetes, that is just like a symptom or a sign that you do have gestational diabetes. Now, I had the 3-hour glucose test, and I thought that it was just because I thought that I had failed the first one because I had eaten like a cookie before, or a couple cookies before. But even in my 3-hour test, I was borderline. You have to pass yeah, if you fail there's like 4 tests, and if you fail 2 of them, then you have gestational diabetes. I failed 1 of them, and so I was not diagnosed with gestational diabetes because I'm negative. However, I'm borderline, so he was telling me to watch my sugar. So the risk with having the circumvallate placenta, he doesn't seem stressed about it at all. He's like, we're just worrywart around here. We'll just keep an eye on you. And the risk with that, though, is that some babies don't get enough nutrients or blood to them because the placenta is smaller. You know, the fetal membranes are wrapping around, so it makes the placenta smaller. However, in the ultrasound, they found that my baby is measuring in the 78th percentile, that he's measuring big, not like huge, you know, with gestational. When women have gestational diabetes, you're more likely to have a bigger baby. He said that this baby is not looking to be, he is looking in the 8-pound range, which 3 out of 4 of my babies were in that range. Lottie was the only one that was smaller, and she was 7 pounds 1 ounce, but the rest of them were in the 8-pound range. He doesn't think this will be my biggest baby, which was May at 8'11", but he thinks that he'll be in the 8-pound range. So needless to say, 78th percentile is not, is totally great. Like, he's measuring really good. And so there's not, I have an ultrasound tomorrow. He's going to keep on a BPP tomorrow with that. And so it's not like he's super worried, but they want to continue to keep an eye on him. However, he told me he wanted me to see him weekly and get a non-stress test weekly. I had my first non-stress test. And when I got to the hospital, they told me that I was like, yeah, you want me to do a non-stress test? And they're like, well, typically we do 2 a week. And that's what it says on here for you, for us to do for you. And so I was like, okay, well, if that's what you do. We are very close to the hospital here. And so it makes it way less stressful. I am like the type of person that does not like to drive, or does not, I don't like to leave the house really. And this pregnancy, I've had feeling a lot more like depressed and anxious. And so like, I like to know like how parking is. So Brett has driven the other vehicle while I have been in the other one. Driven up, he showed me where to go. This first time I went through a door, I think he used to work at this hospital. So I went through a door that was typically, I think just for workers, and somebody had opened the door, and so I walked in. But the past couple times I've gone into the right place or the public door for it. That doesn't matter. Anyways, my first non-stress test went fine. After about 20 minutes, I passed, which they need to have at this point in pregnancy, in this 32nd week. The baby's heart rate needs to go 15 beats above their average heart rate for 15 seconds, 2 times within 20 to 40 minutes. And if that doesn't happen, then they would do an ultrasound. And they wanted me to have a sugary drink and some food before to get him moving in case he was asleep, you know, because that time of day I've been going in the like early afternoon or mid-afternoon, and he it's not like his most awake time. I can tell, like, he's not moving a ton during that time, so it's good. So having a sugary drink has been helpful to get him for his heart rate, to go up, and for me to pass these non-stress tests so that I can go earlier than being there for, hours. I also had terrible sciatica that had been taking me by surprise. If you've had sciatica before, there's sometimes like just that pain. You're like, oh my gosh, it hurts. But then there's other times when you're not expecting it and you start walking and it's just like, oh, and you feel like you're like crippled. That had been happening to me. I felt like the chiropractor this week wasn't as helpful. And I don't think that was his issue. I think that was more just the luck of it, that it wasn't as helpful. Brett also started having me sleep in more. He works from home. He has his own business. And so it's really sweet of him. I think that this, becoming more high risk has really stressed him out. Actually, I know it has. He's been really, really stressed out about this pregnancy. And so, but sleeping in has been really helpful because we have a lot of girls that love to get into our bed at night, and that during the night is not the best sleep. In the morning, I get a lot better sleep. So that's been really sweet of him. I have cried more this pregnancy than literally any other pregnancy. Probably I feel like I've cried almost every day the past week. I've been crying so much this pregnancy. There's obviously life and things going on that hadn't been going on at other times in my life, but I attribute it a lot to just mostly just to hormones, because then I'll just, if I start crying about one thing, then everything, then I let out everything, all my sadness to Brett. And so I'm really grateful to have him to be able to talk to, because he just listens and he comforts me and everything. But I've cried a lot this pregnancy. Also, since this week, since week 32, and even now, my left side has been bothering me. I've got nerve issues, and it's typically my left side. It's like my left eye was bothering me and my left side. I really think it's all nerve issues, but it can get, if you've had nerve problems before, like it can get really scary and not fun. I also, so my food craving this week was blueberries and milk. If you've had blueberries and milk before, it is, so frozen blueberries, it makes like the milk almost like frozen with it, and it's really, really good. So I was having that like, if not once a day, multiple times a day. Or if not multiple times a day, at least once a day. What does it say? How do you say that? I don't know. But, and the girls, my girls love it too. And so it was kind of like a treat to me, but it's healthy. So, but I was noticing, I'm gonna like telling you kind of in the future, the milk makes me kind of sick, having so much milk. I'm not, I typically don't drink a ton of milk out of pregnancy, but like with cereal or with this, with blueberries and milk, I obviously love it. And so that's a bummer. But that lasted, and I still like it. I still like blueberries and milk, but that like being my main source of food was especially prevalent in week 32, and I think also week 33. I was having acid reflux every night is what I wrote. So that was continuing. I cleaned and I had got terrible sciatica, you know, just going up and down. Let me know if that's when sciatica gets bad for you, because just happened. Let's just turn off. If that's when your sciatica gets bad for you, because like when you go up and down and you're moving a ton or lifting, I think that a lot of it is my lifting. Oh, here's my yoga ball here. If you have seen my last labor and delivery, you know that this is like the coveted yoga ball that helped me get through my my labor pains, and that I was begging the nurse with the last 15 minutes in my when I got to the hospital, just for a ball just for me to sit on, but didn't come in time, and I had Lottie quickly. So anyways, I also have a friend here in our church that gave me a ton of good advice about pretty much with a high risk pregnancy. And she told me about the Counting Kicks app. And so the past few nights I haven't done it, but I had been doing it pretty regularly, of counting his kicks at night. And he was getting, you're supposed to get 10 in about 2 hours. He was getting 10 kicks in about 3 to 6 minutes. And so that's really good. And then also my anxiety was really bad. I think that it really got to me, just the high risk aspect of this pregnancy, and the idea, knowing that I probably will need to be induced, and just all the unknowns of this pregnancy got to me. And so, and then, your hormones are way crazier. And so it gets, intense. It gets intense. Anxiety does for me during pregnancy. Okay, so I've decided to talk about week 33, and then I'll be completely caught up with my weeks of pregnancy. In 33 weeks, I had obviously my next doctor's appointment. I talked to him about induction because I was reading that sometimes people have to get C-sections with this type of placenta, or be induced at between whatever weeks, and so I talked to him, and he said that it's probably would be smart to be induced around 39 weeks, so that I've already had 4 vaginal births, and so more likely to have a vaginal birth if I get induced a week early. The baby's heart rate was between 130 and 140s, which was good. I hadn't gained weight. The baby was growing just fine, which is really good. Tomorrow I'm actually doing a BPP ultrasound, and so that will be reassuring and good to do. This last week, so week 33, the chiropractor was actually really helpful. He popped my upper back without pushing on my belly. That was really helpful. And he did my neck, and helped with my sciatica and all these things. And so that was really nice. I had a headache in week 33. I was doing the Counting Kicks app at night. I still mentioned that I had neck pain though, so that's a bummer. And I was trying to watch my sugar more. I love sugar. And so watching sugar was kind of, it's kind of a hard thing for me, but I wrote that down. I also had another non-stress test which just went just fine. After about 20-ish minutes, he passed and it was all good. I don't know what started out easily means. I wrote that down. I don't know what that means. I also got a new pillow this week, and it's shaped like a candy cane. It's on my bed right now, but instead of like the full-on pregnancy pillow, I've never used a pregnancy pillow before. And so this one is really nice, but I was still waking up every time I needed to move to a different position with it. So it's a lot of waking up at night. Nights are rough, especially when you have 4 little girls that love to climb into bed with us, but that's okay. I'm blessed. I know this time will go by quickly, but I had stronger Braxton Hicks contractions, and also just like affected. I've been this week. I was affected so much by heat. We live in the South, and it's getting hot. It's June, like mid-June right now, you know, or end of June practically. And being outside, like I feel like it just like really depletes me, being in the heat. And then also I am in the nursery, like with the little kids during church, me and Brett are, and the air conditioning doesn't really work in there, and it's so hot. It gets so hot, and so that's difficult for me too. I also get sugared out easily, I feel like, and I think that mostly had to do with like the milk and the blueberries. It was the milk getting to me. And let me get my baby one second. And when I say baby, I mean my almost 2-year-old. She is my baby though. Look, Laddie, I'm filming that. She just woke up. It's so bright, huh? What I was saying is that I've like, see her reaching for my mouth. I have craved the feeling of my toothbrush on my teeth. And I love our toothpaste too. It's really good toothpaste, but it's like the feeling, like my toothbrush is the type that's like indented in the middle because I push so hard. It's okay. You see chocolate? Okay, one second. I'll share it with you in just a sec, okay? Okay, lay down. In just a sec, let me finish this, okay? I've craved the feeling of brushing my teeth. And I know that there's like, my mom craved like Mentadent toothpaste or something like that during one of her pregnancies. But it's not the toothpaste that I'm really craving. It's the feeling of brushing my teeth. It's like a really good texture. Let me know if you have had that before, because I don't know if that's normal or if that's common. I don't know. Weird, but that's how it is. I have felt like my belly is so much bigger. And so last week, I think it was 2 weeks, I think it was week 32. I went to go get my non-stress test, and they're like, how are you doing? I'm like, I feel so pregnant. And they were like, and the nurse was like, well, of course you do, because you have a poly pregnancy. And I was like, yeah. And I looked it up, and it's because of the extra fluid. And so I feel really big. Getting into that, I want to show my bump update. Okay, that's it. Yeah, baby. Yeah, 1 second. Okay. Water. Yeah, mommy's water. What's that? No, mommy's. Okay, 1 second. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like it and comment down below if you have experienced any of these similar symptoms that I have. I will update for 34 weeks. Hopefully I can just do this one update instead of a couple of weeks. Hopefully I can just do an update for week 34. 1 sec, let me take a bite and I'll give you the rest, okay? No, okay. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Can you say bye, Laddie? Okay. Say bye. Can you wave? Can you wave? Look right here. Say bye. Bye.